Oh, sorry. That's okay. I'm going to call this Board of Equalization special meeting to order. Today is Monday, March 16th. It is 9:31 a.m. And notice of this meeting was properly posted on March 11th, 2026. We have a full house. I'm Eleanor Thompson. This is Mr. Brett Town, and this is Ms. Teresa Sellers. And we're going to be hearing and deciding you guys' cases. We will hear you today. We will decide you on Friday. And has anybody appeared in front of us before? No. Okay, so this is how this works. We know there's a dispute. There's been a value assessed to your property. You don't agree with it. So we're going to hear your case and we will set the value at the end. We will first hear from you, then we will hear from the assessor, and then we will give you the last word. Now we're going to take these out of order because we have a lady who's a surgical nurse that's going into surgery. So she's number 4 on the agenda. We're going to take her first. Okay, I have really bad allergies today, so if it gets really bad, Mr. Town will take over. Okay? Yeah, we make decisions on Friday, and your decisions will come to you in the mail. So you will probably get them either Saturday or Monday. Okay? Are we ready to do the first one? Start with the minutes. I'm sorry. Item 1 is a discussion and possible action regarding our minutes of January the 30th, 2026.
If there's no additions or changes, I move approval of item number 1.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 1 passes. Okay, so number 4 on the agenda is Carly Ferguson Phillips and Tyra Phillips. And we will hear her by phone. She's at work. Phillips.
Available.
Oklahoma County
Let's
BOE. Hello?
Hi.
This is Carly.
Yes.
Oh, hi. Okay, this is Ms. Thompson. I'm the chair.
Hi.
Hi. Have you ever appeared in front of us before?
No.
No. Okay. There's a dispute on your valuation, so we're going to hear from you as to why you think the value of your property is what you say that it is. And by my notes here, you think the value is $550,746. The assessor has you valued at $648,000. So we'll hear from you first, then we'll hear from the assessor, and then we'll give you the last word. We will meet on Friday to make a decision as to what the valuation is, and you'll be notified by mail.
Okay. Do you want me to address what the assessor sent back to me in my first statement?
No, you can do it however you want to.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't change. They started out at 648 and stayed at 648, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
You want to read the account number?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. This is item 4 on our agenda, and the address is 3817 Urban Way, Edmond, and the account number is R2179515530.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So tell me what you want us to know.
Okay, so I received that. I just ran multiple comps in our neighborhood with similar square footage and kind of the age of the house. And they averaged anywhere between 217 and 228 a square foot. So I did the math with our square footage and came up with that 550 around that number. When I received I don't know if you call this the informal hearing decision back with the comps that you all provided in your assessment, I looked all of those up, and the ones that were more than 3 years old, which my house was 4, were all lower than 228 per square foot. And then I looked up the ones that were 1 and 2 years old. The ones that were 1 year old were obviously brand new builds, but even the 2 that were 2 years old, I'm not sure where they got that number because the houses were complete less than a year ago from today and sold. These were all brand new homes. There was no one previously in them. So even though they said that they were 2 years old, sale date was April 17th, 2025, which was less than a year ago, and June 26th, 2025, less than a year ago. So I'm not sure. Maybe the start of the build was 2 years ago, but they're not 2-year-old homes that have been lived in for 2 years or even in that year before. So that was just kind of my thought on it.
Did it matter to you that you stayed in your neighborhood? What really mattered to you was the age of the house.
Well, when I went outside my neighborhood, the comps were even lower. I think our neighborhood was priced high, but about a half mile east of us, I found a neighborhood, and the square footage was all less than 200. And I did provide one of those in my paperwork back to y'all, but I did ask both of the assessors I spoke with, Mike and Kara, for that paper back, and no one ever said so. I can't actually tell you exactly what I sent you, but I do know the neighborhood east of us, about a half mile down the road. All of those comparable homes, which were a little bit older as well, but they were all under 200 square foot.
Okay, can you give me the mile section, the major mile section closest to your neighborhood?
I don't know that
This is on Danforth between Sooner and Coltrane on the north side of the road, Town Center.
Okay.
It's by the new Town Square. It's by the new Francis Tuttle. Okay. It's a half mile away from my house.
Okay. Okay. Okay, anything else before I hear from the assessor? You're gonna get the last word.
No, that's all.
Okay. Which one of you guys is gonna take it? Mike, okay.
Good morning, Board. My name is Michael Frangione. I'll be representing the Oklahoma County Assessor in this formal period. Good morning, Ms. Phillips. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
Good. Yes, this Ms. Phillips, Mr. and Ms. Phillips purchased their property November of 22 for $552,000, which would be $217.69 a square foot. They are the original occupants of the property. We have a year built of 2022, 2,538 square feet. We have it as a good quality, and as Mr. Town mentioned, it is in Town Square, which is on the northwest corner of East Danforth and North Sooner, near the new Francis Tuttle. They are requesting a value of $550,746, which puts it at $217 a square foot. There were 2 reports ran initially that were supporting the current value, and the average age of the comps were 2.8 years on both reports, whereas the subject property we have at 4 years. I do want to point out that the last, back in 23, we had a value on the property at $552,500. In 24, $643,500. 25, $649,500, and of course this year at $648,000. I went ahead and looked back at the comps that were initially ran, and I thought, well, okay, let me see if I can find anything more that might maybe possibly help lower the value some. And I went ahead and ran a quick list, which includes one of the comps Ms. Phillips provided during the initial informal, which was 2533 Amante Court. That is outside the neighborhood, but it's not too bad of a comparison for the subject property. Using all good quality, while I can't get anywhere near what the requested value is, I can make a recommendation of lowering down to $632,000. Which, like I said, it's going to be 16 grand less than what we're currently at, but that's using one of the comparisons that was provided during the informal, and then 3 additional comps that are in the neighborhood with all similar square footages, same quality, and all close to the subject's age.
Was that the median or no?
Let me give me 1 sec.
I think the median was 650,383.
On the existing comps? Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna be different from what he just
I'm just
adjusted.
curious.
Be lower than that.
For the average.
So the first comp we had at $650,383 for the median. And then the second comp report, $662,331.
What made you decide to lower it to 632 then? If the median was-
Well, because I didn't do the initial appeal, so I wanted to look over it, and because there is a lot of activity in that neighborhood, as we do know, and I just thought, let me go ahead and rerun it again, still using one of the subject's comps because it was a good comp, and just kind of worked with it a little bit and decided to come down a little bit on that.
Okay, you wanna respond to that, ma'am?
Oh.
Yeah, I think it probably sounds ridiculous that we're asking for it to be lower than it was 2023, but I didn't know that you could appeal these prior to this year. So I probably would have done it the past 2 years that I knew. But in response to that, I still feel like a valid point is all of the comparisons that aren't brand new builds were all under $228 a square foot. All of the new builds, which my house is 4 years from being built, are the ones that drove up the square footage cost. So I don't know why it's considered a comp if the 5 and 6-year-old homes, or similar to mine, are all under 228, and all of the brand new builds, which my house isn't, are the ones that are over the 228 square foot.
Okay, let me just pose this question to you this way.
Sure.
You paid $552,000 for this house 3 years ago, and now you say that it's worth less than what you paid for it 3 years ago?
No, but
Well, no, you are.
I guess, well, yeah, I mean, I guess with doing the comps of the houses around ours that are similar age
Okay,
and what they sold for, then it would be somewhere between, and I'm on my phone, so I can't use my calculator, but
Sure.
I'd like to see what 228 times our square footage to be the high end of that. I used the 217, but I don't
okay.
know if anyone has a calculator there real quick. Thank you.
Let me get, well, we're doing it. Let me get Mike to explain to you when you're dealing with a different age and a different size, there's a formula that they use when they make the comparison. So they don't just say, here's a house that's 4 years old, here's a house that's brand new, and just use that valuation. Can you explain, Mike, did you make any allowances for age of your comps?
Yes, Ms. Thompson. So for every property that we're using to compare to the subject property, we are making adjustments for those. So we did eliminate all the 1-year-old builds. So we took all the 1-year-old properties out, and we're using homes that have been there at least 2 years or up. So, but we are making those necessary adjustments to get it just like the subject property.
The 2 homes that you used that say effective age 2 years, those were also brand new builds. So I'm not sure if the building process started 2 years ago, but they were first time homeowners, and that was the only owner of the home.
And I do understand that, but I do want to make reference though that when we call the official year built of a home is when the framing process starts, and that's how we start the aging process. Even if you might have an owner that's not moved into it until maybe like a year or two later, we officially recognize a year built of a home as soon as the framing starts on the home.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to clarify that those are essentially the same as the 1 year because they were brand new. First time, first owners of that home. No one lived there prior to that. Just took longer to build.
Okay. Well, you get the last word. Anything else you want to say to us before you have to dash into surgery?
No, just that I'd encourage you to use more of the ones that were around the same time frame as our house was built, and not the new builds, because I feel like everything I looked at supported the less than 228 square foot that were similar in, bathrooms, bedrooms, square footage, and age of the home. But I appreciate all of you guys' time and letting me appeal it to begin with.
Oh, sure. That's your right. Did you have any questions? You have any questions? Okay. I'll just repeat myself. We're going to meet on Friday for
Okay.
for decision day, and then your decision comes in the mail. So either Saturday or Monday, you'll get our decision.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay. The next one is going to be Mr. Patel.
Are we going back up?
We-
to one?
Yes.
Yep, just the one, that one at some point, that would be it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, this will be 1800 Nighthawk Court, Edmond, residential account number R1883458080. My notes indicate, it's the Ferguson's, Mr. Patel. Okay, so the assessor has the valuation. It's at 490 and lowered it to 485,000, and you would like to have us put the valuation at 400,000. Okay, you should go to the microphone.
That should be the taxable I intended to write. That's my bad.
That's okay. So okay, that's one thing I should have explained to you guys. What we set
Yeah.
is the fair market value of your property. That's what a willing buyer and a willing seller
Sure.
would pay for property.
Right.
We do not deal with taxable.
Right.
Those are two separate figures, and people think that they can get their taxes lowered if we lower the
No,
valuation.
yeah.
That works sometimes, sometimes it does not. Okay, so tell me what you think you would like
On-
to have us set the value of your
On
property
the
at.
fair market value, even as of now, right now, if we
Yes.
go, it is 419.
419?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is very current, and whatever the comp sets that has been provided that are geographically far away,
Okay.
rather than what I had sent it in 1912 Nighthawk Drive, which is quarter of a mile away. It got sold at 330K, and there was one on Mistletoe and one right around there for 355 and 385, and they are more resemblance to my property, and they are higher in footage. Overall plot size is
Yes.
0.59. Even the house size is 3,200 or 300, and all of them were higher, while what the comp sets were a little bit further away, and to my knowledge, I think they were a little bit more in the square footage.
Yes.
And when in the informal hearing, I was told that my property was being remodeled in 2005, which I wasn't aware of until then. But still, in 21 years, Number one, I bought the property after. So the price basically starts right there. But I felt like there is a systemic increase every year on the taxable value of $500, which is kind of hard in today's inflation, even that to me, the fair value should be pretty much close. And not necessarily that every year it has to be incremental. It has to go by the market.
Yes.
And in last 6 months, which I have seen, okay, in 23, the first year after I bought, there was a whole market boom. I understand. Even it continued to 24. I still agree. But then I think it has been good 6% to 8%, or even at times 10% down in the value. Right now, the sales, everybody is going out. And this is not a rental property. This is where I stay with my two girls and the parents. So I would rather have the value, the taxable value to be the last year's, which is 403, I think, and I'm claiming 400.
Okay, now I'm gonna repeat that we don't
Oh,
deal
yeah,
with,
yeah,
we don't
yeah.
deal
So
with taxable value.
419, the
Okay.
essence.
That's okay. Tell me, how much did you pay for this property when you bought it?
372,500.
And that was in,
2022, April 7th. Yeah.
we hear from the assessor.
Good morning, Mr. Patel. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yes, Mr. Patel purchased this property in April of 22 for $372,500 at $123.55 a square foot. We do have the 2026 value at $490,500, which would be at $162.69 a square foot. We noticed the decision after the informal appeal at $485,160.86 a square foot. And obviously the original requested value was $330. Now we have it at $419,000, as it was just recently stated. We are located at North Bryant and East Danforth in Kickingbird Estates. We have it at 3,015 square feet, good quality. It is in a 1982 year built property with an effective year built of 1999, and that effective year built is based on a 2015 remodel that was put on the property. Mr. Patel mentioned that 1912 Nighthawk, it was a reason to initially lower the value. I do want to point out that 1912 Nighthawk was not used in our analysis to value the property. What we do is we have it considered as an unqualified sale, meaning that it was sold under general market standards for that area. So anything that's sold way under market, we will not use in our analysis. Two of the three owners' comps were used in our initial analysis. The median value was $485,472, which led to the lowering of $485,000. I do want to point out that the value last year was $501,000. In 24, it was also $501,000, and in 23 we had it at $374,500. But so we do have it right now currently at $485, and that's where we currently stand.
So, Michael, I noticed that the last two comps are 23 and 24. Were there no other 20, 25 comps that we could pull in?
There were not enough in 25 to make a good comparison. The sales are few and far between in this neighborhood, and if there are not enough 25 sales in the assessor's office, we can use a 4-year sample cycle to set values, so we can go back as far as 22 to search for values or use values to support the current value.
And the one home that's out of the neighborhood, is that just for numbers? The one that's over in Kimberdale, I think.
That was comp 2, right?
Yeah. I don't think it really affects things, but is that just because of trying to get more numbers?
That is correct. Trying to find a similar property, yes. Yeah. Even though it's outside the neighborhood.
Okay, Mr. Patel, you have the last word.
I just have the other two comp sets. If they think the 330 was way out of market value, but the Mistletoe Lane and those were 2025, I think. There were two other provided by me.
Mike, did you see his comps? This one on Mistletoe Lane, because I don't believe I saw it in the package. Oh, those were the Zillow comps. Yeah, Mike, will you explain why we don't use the Zillow comps?
We typically do not look at Zillow or Redfin because they have their own methods of how they do values. They don't take into account all the adjustments that have to be made on our end. They just kind of look at values as a whole, and they don't necessarily look at in the neighborhood. They'll try to go outside the neighborhood, so they're very subjective with their information.
I don't have anything much to say.
Okay. I have one other question. Did you happen to look at the addresses, the Mistletoe that he mentioned? Do you recall if those were the comps that you used? Did you do any comparison at all in terms of the addresses?
I don't think you had any on Mistletoe.
We did have one on Mistletoe.
That was likely the
1601
same
Mistletoe.
one.
Yep. Actually, two. Also, 2000 Mistletoe.
Can you just confirm if that address is one of the ones that he mentioned? We should probably just explain the adjustments that you do.
So, as you know, Mr. Patel, that not every property is going to be the same as yours. So, anything that's under your square footage or over the square footage, we're going to make negative or positive adjustments, and that includes everything, from garage size, square footage, age. If there's been a remodel, we make adjustments for everything to get it to be just like the subject property.
So that we can make sure that it's apples to apples.
My last word is to the jury that numbers don't make us, we make numbers when you make your decision. That's all. That's all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll make our ruling on Friday, and then we'll get it out to you either Saturday or Monday. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in. Okay, we'll finish item number 2 then, and then we'll go to agenda item number 3, BOE 3. Raymond, is it Chaffee? Okay, come forward, Mr. Chaffee. Address 4503 North Wheeler Avenue, Bethany, Oklahoma, residential. Account number R171088000.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Really, the only thing, I just feel that my assessed value is way high. And I'm basing that off of the comps that was provided to me at the informal hearing that I did. I originally came in just to request you guys to come out and reassess my property because I thought it was way high. So once I received the comps, I noticed all the sale prices on those properties, and you've got me assessed at $344,500, and those properties are all selling for $230,000 to $250,000. I just feel that it's high. Just requesting an adjustment to the value if possible.
Okay, for the
You want to go ahead, Mike? I would just ask again that you explain specifically the adjustments on the age, because that seems to be what's making the biggest impact on his.
Good morning, Mr. Chaffee.
Good morning.
So Mr. Chaffee is the original occupant of this property. We have it as a year built of 1996. We are in the Wheeler Model Edition off northwest corner of Northwest 39th and MacArthur. The 2026 value and the notice of decision, $344,500 at $178.59 a square foot. The requested value is $220,000 at $114.05 a square foot. We do have it on as a fair quality with 1,929 square feet. The average age of the comps in our report were 55 years. And the sales comps that we used were from 22 to 25 because there weren't not necessarily enough values in 2025 to, get a sufficient amount of evidence on. So like I said, we have to go back as far as 4 years to, get a value. The 2025 value was 357,000. In 24, it was 365,000. In 23, it was 365,500. And we have to go all the way back to 2014 to get to $221,853, which is near what the current value request is. And as Ms. Sellers mentioned about every line item that we have when it comes to square footage, when it comes to age, when it comes to pretty much anything associated with a property, even the land size, we're going to make you positive or negative adjustments to get it to be just like the subject property or your property. So there's always going to be adjustments made, and we're trying to find the best comparables we can to get it to be just like the subject property.
Okay. The 220 was just a wag on my part. If that's, I could be way off. I'm not an expert in this. I just base it. The home right next door to me, which is much older, it's only a 2-bedroom. It's on the market for $125,000. So, wow. Yeah, I just retired. I was looking for some relief, some help. I pay $4,000 a year on my property tax, like everybody, and I was just seeing if I could get an adjustment to my property tax.
Your taxes are $4,000.
They are. I pay $3,000 a year to Bethany School System.
Mike, I had a couple of questions. What was the value last year? 300.
The value last year, 357,000.
So I noticed, Michael, on the assessor's record, I showed a senior freeze.
I just did that when I was in 2 weeks ago. Yes.
Okay, so it's not effective for this year, then it goes into effect for next year?
Correct. All values are established first before any exemption can take place or any new exemption. So the senior freeze is going to freeze the current taxable value. That's where it's at going forward.
So it'll freeze the taxable value.
The
So he
taxable
won't
value.
see any further increases on his taxable value, and his taxable value was $289,802. We don't typically deal with taxable value, but what you should understand is it's not going to go any higher than that, and we can't affect that today. Whatever we do today is not going to affect what you're going to pay in taxes from here on out.
And I do want to mention, as far as that one property you mentioned that's currently on the market, we will use that if we do feel that it is a qualified sale when we look at it later on. We will look at that sale to set the value next year, and if we see that is a qualified sale and we do use it in our analysis, then that could help your market value decrease. But we just can't use any value that is sold after January 1st of 26, because all values right now, as of January 1st of 2026, are for everything that's sold in 25.
Okay.
And then I do want to mention, you had mentioned the senior freeze. So your current property tax payment should stay the same. The only thing that you may have to worry about every year is if the millage rate goes up or go down, and that's based on the school bonds that are voted on in your tax district. But just know that your taxable value is now frozen going forward.
You need to understand when he said valid sale. So like if your neighbor sells that house to a child of his and gives him a break on the sales price, that's not going to be a valid sale. So they're not going to use that to show the value of your house. That's what he means. Sheriff sales, distress sales are not valid sales for purposes of valid comps.
Okay. All right.
Do you have any idea why that house is on the market for so little?
It's a smaller home, older home.
Is it in bad shape?
No, not really. I don't know why it's so cheap, to be honest with you. For that area, it is cheap. I was just throwing that out, just giving that as a reference.
Sure.
Anything helps. I mean, whatever, if you can make a slight adjustment, I'm fine with that, or just, if you can't, I'm fine with that also. I didn't know the process. This is all new to me. I just simply came in the other day to request you guys come out and do a reassessment of my property. I thought it was assessed too high. And then next thing I know, I'm doing an informal hearing, and then I did this, and I'm really kind of unprepared for this. But the most current appraisal I have is like 2010, I think, so it wouldn't have been worth bringing. That's kind of
You're doing fine.
okay.
And you did the right thing with that senior freeze. That'll help you out.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention one more thing. You had mentioned about coming out to reassessing your property. So every 4 years by state law, we come out and reassess every property, where we come and take an updated picture of all the properties. So that's throughout Oklahoma County. Every 4 years, we come out and do updated pictures, look at updated aerials, and do information like that. But if there's something wrong with a particular particular house that's on the interior, we won't know unless the homeowner tells us, or there's a permit issued for like a remodel. So it could be completely, ransacked on the inside, unlivable, but we don't know unless the homeowner brings it up to us, or there's a permit for a remodel. Because on the outside, it could look perfectly fine, but on the inside is a different story. So we always want to rely on permits that are taken out, or like I said, if the homeowner lets us know, then we can come out, take a look at it, and do some adjustments that way if necessary.
Okay. It's in pretty good shape, really. I've got a little bit of foundation damage, repair needs to be done, but the adjuster's out. I got hammered in that hailstorm last week, so they're out this morning looking at my roof. So I'm probably going to get a new roof, new gutters, and stuff like that. But as far as any real bad damage, no, it's in pretty good shape, really. Even the interior is. I need new carpet, but that's cosmetic stuff. So. I'm happy with whatever you guys can do.
Oh, okay. Again, we appreciate you coming in, and we'll have a decision on Friday, and we'll inform you quickly after that. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I need to stay, or can I? You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. I think at this point we're moving to number 5 on the agenda. BOE number 5 would be the Nedrow Ryan Trust. Ryan Nedrow, address 6801 Trenton Road, Nichols Hills, residential, account number R169573150. Is a representative here today? It's a call in? Okay, this will be a call in.
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
Board of Equalization.
I'm sorry, this person is not available. If you would like to leave an additional message, please reply after the tone.
Hello?
Mr. Nedrow?
This is him.
Yes, this is Brett Town with the Oklahoma County Board of Equalization. How are you today?
Good, how's it going?
It's good. We are here to to have your hearing on the 6801 Trenton Road property today. We have all 3 of the members in attendance. The way this, have you appeared before the board before?
No, I have not.
Okay. The way this works is that you get to present your side of the hearing first, then we listen to the county assessor's office, and then you get the final say or rebuttal. And then we will not rule today. We will rule on Friday with all the cases we hear today and tomorrow. And then we will get back to you. We'll send out our ruling by mail either Saturday or Monday. We are an appellate board. So all we are going to be doing is listening to evidence that has been presented already. If you did have something new that came up, we would have to ask the assessor if they would be willing to accept it. Otherwise, it's just we are looking at the appeal process at this point. Do you have any questions before you begin?
No.
Okay, well, we'd like to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, so I was notified, I think, a couple weeks ago that my assessment value was somewhere in the $925,000 range. If that was the case, I would have sold the property today or that day. I had an appraisal done, I think, a couple weeks before that notice came out, where the appraisal came in at $582,000. About a year ago, I had another appraisal done come in about $570,000, both done by Citibank to do refinances loans on the property. So these, amounts were used by Citibank to, determine my loan to value ratio. So obviously a very formal document and something that carries a lot of weight if the banks are using this to assess to determine my loan to value. I bought the property in 2022 for $375,000. I spent about $140,000 rehabbing the place. So putting my cost in at about $515,000 all in. I would love to say we're in a world where the market has gone up 300% in 4 years, but I think we can all agree that's not the case. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay, we'll hear from the assessor's office.
Good morning, Mr. Nedro. So we are located in Nichols Hills. We are located between Grand and Western and Wilshire and Northwest 63rd. We have a year built of 1960 with an effective year built of 2008 because of a full 2024 remodel. We're at 2,275 square feet and average condition. The property was purchased in March of 22 for $375,000 at $164.84 a square foot. The 2026 value and what we noticed after the informal was $837,500 at $368.13 a square foot. Mr. Nedro is requesting a value of $582,000, which would put him at $255.82 a square foot. I do want to point out that we have the 2022 purchase as an unqualified sale due to an inventory modification, and according to our records, an inventory modification is the property's physical characteristics change significantly between the time it was listed and the time of sale, making it a poor comp for market value. The sale price does not accurately reflect the true market value of the property in its original state. And that's why we have it classified as an unqualified sale. The appraisal comps that were provided, we put those into our analysis, and we come up with this. This is including all the adjustments, and we come out with $841,207 with an average age of 58 years old. And then we did our own comps, and we come up with $946,154. And these are the median values I'm giving you, with an average age of 29. I do want to point out that the 2025 value was $808,000, and then it was lowered to $725,417 during the informal process, and that was in 25. Yes, that is it for me for now.
Questions?
Yes, this is Ms. Thompson. So Did you appeal last year, or you just had informal that allowed it to go from 808 down to 725?
23, 25, it was 808, 20, no, 24 had a weird amount. When I looked at it, it was like 94,000. And then 23 was 476. Look at that. Let me check the website.
Am I on the right, in Nichols Hills? Okay, so Mike, you want to help me out here?
Yes, I want to make reference to 2024 because we have a full remodel on the property. Back in 2024,
Sure.
the home was on for salvage value, $5 a square foot plus the land value.
Okay, so that year, that's what, it was vacant, the full remodel, okay.
Correct.
And the full remodel went from 808 down to 725?
That is correct.
Okay, that's a year ago. And Mr. Nedrow, you're asking for 582,000? Less than it was last year? Did you appeal last year?
Me?
Yes.
I think I did. I threw in an appeal, and they said that they would drop it down to 725 as just like okay, we can do that. But if you wanted any more, then I had to come to the court for that, which I do this, what we're doing now.
Okay.
And I did not do that. So I just accepted the 725 for last year, which also seemed a bit high.
Okay. Your remodel, what year
Yeah.
did your remodel, when you said you put 140,000, what
Yes.
year was that?
2023.
Okay, so by your own calculations, 2 years ago, almost 3, you were at 515.
Correct.
Okay, and so now you want to be at 582.
That's what the appraisal came in at. Yeah, so I'm just going off that.
So you had an appraisal done 2 years in a row?
Yeah, I had it refinanced once after the property was done being built because I was on a construction loan at the time, so I had to refinance it into a conventional loan.
Okay.
And that's when I did the first one where it was assessed at where it was appraised at 570.
Okay.
It was actually appraised at 540, and because I wanted more loan to value equity, get that higher. Citibank generously went up to 570. And then now I'm looking at refinancing due to lower interest rates, and they came in a couple weeks ago at 582. One thing I forgot to left out is that I tried selling the property multiple times. You can see that in the sale history in the range of 639 all the way down to 549, and left it on the market for a good period of time. I want to say 90 days if I'm just thinking about that. It's obviously a little while ago, but I had no traction at any of those price points. So that should carry some weight, I believe, in this discussion. That I was unable to sell in 2023 for anywhere between 629 and 549. No luck.
And Mike, the discrepancy, I mean, there seems to be just a large discrepancy in your valuation and the valuation that the Citibank would put on it. Those, and what are the reasons for that again? As you look at that, and then you look at yours, is it comps? Is it adjustment to comps? Is it sales?
Well, sales is going to be one thing, but I'm not sure that the subject's appraisal is accounting for the remodel that took place.
Well, I show the appraisal was dated January of 26, January
We can't
16th of
use.
26. Was there another appraisal that you used? Because he did say there were 2 appraisals done.
It was 1 in 25.
But I didn't see a 25 appraisal in the package.
It was just the one that we did from January of 26, which we can use January of 26 because it is a current appraisal.
Based off of 25 sales.
Correct.
So we can use that appraisal.
Yep.
And you said you pulled comps based off of the comps that were in that appraisal, and you came up with the value of 841. I think that's
841,207 to be exact.
841,207. Did you provide those comps in the package?
Correct.
Was that the second set of comps then?
That's the first set of comps.
Oh, that was the median then?
Correct, yeah. The first set of comps were strictly based on the appraisals comps that were provided, and then the second comps we provided are strictly ones we ran on our own. And I do want to point out that all properties used in both comps are going to be in Nichols Hills.
Right, and two of them are just extremely close.
Correct.
Although smaller and less value, but the adjustments.
Correct.
Are what.
Well, I did see one, the fifth comp had an effective age of 70, so it had a 61% adjustment. Pretty big.
Mr. Nedrow, any last comments?
No, I just say that the comps, it's like, Nichols Hills has a wide range of valuations for homes. Like, you have the 3 bedrooms that are worth 1.5. You've got 3 bedrooms that are worth 300,000. So obviously you can pull both sides of the comps and come in at the average of 800. But if you look and actually see what my property compares to, it compares to the lower end side of the comps. It doesn't have it doesn't have the fancy landscaping. It sits on a corner of 2 streets. It's very open. There's no backyard at all. The only part about my house that's nice is the inside is, livable or more livable than it was. So I just put basic. I didn't go above and beyond with my remodel. I was very simple, straightforward. I just used basic materials just to make the place livable. So it is definitely still on the lower end of, what I would consider a nice 3-bedroom home. It's definitely comparing more to the $500,000, $600,000 comps that were pulled for both my appraisal and what the city's used to assess it.
And just for my knowledge, this is your primary residence?
No, this is a rental home.
Okay, it's a rental home. Okay.
What is your rental income?
I rent the place for $3,500 a month.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, we appreciate you coming in today and or appearing by phone, and we will rule on this on Friday.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item, which will be item number 6. Mr. Brown, if you want to come forward. BOE number 6, William Brown III Trust, address 3100 Southeast 14th, Oklahoma City, residential, account number R1681628885. I will tell the other board members that I know Mr. Brown well. I'll be recusing myself when it comes to vote.
Dang it.
Yeah. Sorry, Webb.
No, that's great.
Okay.
I'll make it short and sweet. I bought the property in August, I believe, 8 months ago for 110. It was an arm's length transaction. I campaigned for 110 in the phone appeal and was not awarded that. I'm arguing over a relatively small amount, but I felt it was right. They've set their number at 121 and are holding firm on that. I would tell you that some factors probably that should be given consideration is the previous owner had made a claim on the roof to get it redone, and they pocketed the money. So I've got a roof ahead of me. It has foundation issues, and the HVAC is 20 plus years old. I'm campaigning for what I believe to be a fair market value was what I bought, 110.
Okay, and that was 8 months ago?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Assessor's office?
Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Morning.
So yes, Mr. Brown's property purchase, we have it officially recorded as July of 25 for $110,000 at $134.80 a square foot. The current value and what we noticed them during the informal, $121,500 at $148.90 a square foot. It was a valid arm's length transaction purchase. He is requesting $110,000. He is located on the northeast corner of South Bryant and Southeast 15th in the small landlocked community of Smith Village.
14th Street, sir.
Well, I'm just talking about the major intersections.
Oh,
Yeah. We do have a year built of 1954 with an effective year built of 1965 at 61 years of age because there was a remodel on the property. We do have the value in 2025 as 121,500. In 24 it was 116,500, and in 23 we had it 101,500. I do mention that we'd have it as a fair quality at 816 square feet.
And Michael, did you take into consideration, or did he present any evidence with regard to the roof?
Well, the roof is mainly a cosmetic ordeal unless there's like a major hole in it or anything like that, then it's.
All I know is they pocketed the money. I assumed it was for me.
And then we used all comps were 2025, I believe were 2025 sales.
They are.
Yep, they're all 2025 sales.
Any other questions? Mr. Brown?
No,
Final word? Nothing?
I have no final word. Those are my facts.
Okay.
So wait for your decision.
All right.
Appreciate the process. I like it better with lights.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for coming in.
Oh, Mr. Brown, is this a rental?
Yes.
What do you rent it for?
I don't know
Webb, can you come up to the mic? We've got to get it on record.
it's currently at 1,200. Okay. I do know it. I would expect it to be frequently vacant because I don't expect this to be a long-term tenant, so I don't know. But that's currently what I have.
Okay.
Is it vacant right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, BOE number 7, Robin E. Johnson, address 6901 Northwest 100th Street, Oklahoma City, type residential, account number R149281400. Ms. Johnson?
Is this something you already gave it to them?
Is this?
I tried to earlier, but you said to take it and I gave it to you. So, I just never been used to one of these, so I thought I was supposed to. And I'll summarize. I'll run through it really
Give me
quickly.
just 1 second. Assessor's office, are you good with her presenting additional information, or are you?
Is this information?
Is this information that you had access to?
This wasn't.
It's your own comps in your paperwork that I'm using.
This is just your analysis of it?
Well, yeah. What
There-
I'm objecting to is Briar Creek, where I bought my house, is twofold. There's the old section, and a lot of people have been talking about age differences. But when they built Briar Creek, they stopped at about 1985 or so, and there was this plot of land that just sat there. Later on in the 90s, someone came in and built all these homes. So the problem with using those homes that have an average sales price of $132 a square foot is that we can't use them to sell our homes. If we can't use those comps to sell the older homes, why are they being used to tax us? That's my basic argument.
When you say tax, do you mean, in our terms, we're meaning to set the fair
To
market
set the
value?
fair market value.
Okay.
So I bought my home in last February.
And you paid how much for it?
I paid $237. The seller tried to initially sell it using comps from the 90s at $355. It kept going down and going down and going down. When it got to $260, I didn't see that for 10 days, so she still had not gotten an offer. The only comp I had available to me was 9721 Lakeland Terrace at $81 a square foot. And the house is nice. My house is nicer, but I'm prejudiced. I mean, I just couldn't do that. I didn't think that $81 a square feet was fair when I saw the house. So I offered $235. She came back with $240, and then I sent someone up on the roof. And though it was iffy, it had hail damage, and I asked her to send her insurance guy up on the roof and see what they thought. They thought it was fine. Mine thought it wasn't, and it was back and forth, back and forth. And she said, "You know what? I'll help you with your deductible if in 5 years or so you want to replace this roof. Here's $3,000 off." So I got the house for $237. Then I get this tax bill. I got a bill because I let her see behind, and I didn't get the evaluations that you send out in January, February, because I didn't get my mail because I didn't live there. The previous owner stayed on a lease until her house was ready. So I don't think that my issue is the non-comparable sales that are skewing the price up. You were using 7001 Basswood Canyon, which sold in June of 2025 for $128 a square foot. You're using 6904 Northwest 100 that sold in September 2024 for $132 a square foot. Those are all some of those 1990s builds that sit across from my house. They're not comparable, because if we try to use their sales trying to sell our houses, it doesn't work. And my seller was not the only one that this affected. If you go to page 4 at the top, you see these drops. 9724 Briar Creek, 319 to 295. That's a 1979 build. Okay. And then you have 9721 Lakeland Terrace, $113 a square foot. Started at $329.9 and went all the way down to $235. We are not successful using the 1990s builds comps for our houses.
Okay, so am I understanding these houses that you just mentioned, they're in the older part?
Yeah, in the older part. But they try to get the big dollars. Doesn't work. It doesn't work.
So basically, they're trying to value their homes based on your part of the neighborhood.
No, I'm old school.
Okay.
Those are the 90s.
Okay.
The 90s, if we use their sales as our comps, it doesn't work. Okay, we just keep dropping and dropping and dropping until we get down to about $101 a square foot, maybe $105.
And this was an arm length sale.
Arm length sale, yes.
And
I don't know.
when did you move into it? Because you were talking about the person
March.
stayed in.
Yes,
Okay, so
yeah, March.
purchased it in February, moved in March.
Right. And that's basically I took this was a lot of work, but that's basically what I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it is unfair to use those comps in deciding what we're being taxed on, and if we can't use them to sell the properties.
Okay.
And you're making the statement that you cannot use them because it doesn't work for how the property gets sold.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't help us.
But the three comps that you provided, the 9401 Briar Creek Drive, 6515 Northwest 94th, and 9721 Lakeland Terrace, you believe are good comps.
What I had available to me when I was kind of deciding on an offer was that 9721 Lakeland Terrace, and $81 a square foot. Boy, that would have been really low to me. But I could have justified it if I submitted an offer. Well, yeah, right here, is a house that is similar. That's $81 a square foot. I noticed that you all adjusted it up to 103 on your analysis. I'm not sure why. But I looked back on it and it wasn't a foreclosure. So I'm not sure why that happened.
Did you adjust for age, Mike?
Yes, we adjust for
Just-
age, yes.
But it's it's comparable in age. So why would you bump it up?
Anything else? Okay, we'll hear from the assessor's office then.
Morning, Ms. Johnson.
Morning.
So yes, this is a valid arm's length transaction for Ms. Johnson in February of 25 for $237,000 at $102.11 a square foot. The value request is anywhere between 237 and 245, which would range from 102.11 to 105.56 a square foot. The 2026 value, $324,000. We did lower it to $315,700, and that is based on the comps provided by Ms. Johnson, which is a combination of 24 and 25 sales.
Comps provided by me? You said the comps provided by Ms. Johnson. I'm not sure what you mean.
So and I'm the one that did your informal,
Okay.
and there were two comp reports provided. Comps that we ran strictly from the assessor side, and then
Okay.
there's comps that you provided, but on that left the fewest amount of adjustments that had to be made. And
But that's important. If you added comps that were homes built in the 90s, that's my whole argument.
what I'm trying to say is we make adjustments for everything, and our goal is to find the best comps possible. I mean, there's properties in there that we could have used that are far superior to yours that can really drive your value up. But in the beginning, that's what we do is we mass appraise. That's why you come in to appeal your value. And our goal is to find the absolute best comparable comps we can to your property
Right.
to establish a value.
Okay.
And I do want to mention, we all know that obviously Briar Creek is located on the northeast corner of North Rockwell and North Britain. We're at 2,321 square feet. And one of the important factors on this one is that we have it classified as a good quality house, whereas the majority of the comps that were in the analysis are average. And the reason why we have it as a good quality is because based on the interior images from the most recent MLS listing, the finishes are quite nice compared to some of the other properties that we've seen. And while we don't have an official remodel for the property, there have been some updates throughout the house, and they're quite present during some of the MLS images.
I think the pictures are a little, misleading because I think people walked out of that house because it looked so dated.
But you're gonna let him finish and then you
Okay,
can
I'm
respond.
sorry.
That's okay.
That's right. And I do want to, yes, Briar Creek is a dated neighborhood, but it's still a very nice and desirable neighborhood, having been out there to work and visit there in years past. But it is still a very, very nice neighborhood. And I do want to mention that the $237,000 got a pretty good deal on it, even though we do have it classified as a qualified sale. The 2025 value was $322,500. 24 was 305.
So basically, she got a good deal. Okay,
Can I respond to that?
just 1 second. But isn't the sale the highest indicator of the value?
That is a valid point, but it's not just in our office. It's not just what the purchase is. We have to go off what the market is doing for that neighborhood. So it's not just sale. We have to do what is currently going on in the market for that neighborhood.
Because it's $78,000 difference in 10 months.
Mhm.
Okay.
I want to respond to the comment.
Is there anything else for the assessor's office?
Oh.
I want to let them get.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
completely
thought
finished.
he paused. So I thought
No, that's correct. I just want to mention though that we did initially lower the value based on the comps that were included a few of ours, plus Miss Johnson having a couple of hers. We included it in there, and that's where the median value of 315,700 came in, whereas our comps initially can support a higher value, $2,000 more of 326, but we wanted to go with what was lower, and that's what we went with initially. And the average age for the comps on our end was 40, and the average age on the comps that included two of hers were 41. And we have.
Can you go to the first page of the package? Because I showed that you had agreed to 310.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I was told
325.
on
It
the
started at
phone.
325, and then after the informal, I've got it down to 310.
I had
Yeah,
to.
on the phone, I was told 310, and when the paperwork came, it said 315.
Usually on
Well,
the very
no.
first page.
Very first, okay. On your first page, of the assessors, you have 310,000. You have an initial of 325, and then you have an adjusted at 310.
On the packet?
And that's
Yes.
what I've got.
That's what she did. That's what she put. That's not ours. That's not ours.
Oh. Why would she have 310?
So
this
there
is
was
the
never an
information we
agreement to
sent Ms.
310?
Johnson. We had it originally at 324, and we lowered it to 315,700.
I'm basing it on the phone call that we had where you said 310. Okay.
This other one has 315,700. This document has 315,700 on the assessor's side, so there's a discrepancy at that point. We want to get that nailed down though, so we can. So, did you say it was offered at 310 in the?
Yeah, I
in
thought
the
that's what
informal?
we discussed on the
Okay,
phone,
and-
the informal. So that's why my form said 310.
Okay, and they were saying their forms, their offer was 315,700 as
When I got the
because they lowered that from 324.
Mhm.
Okay.
325.
Yeah.
Okay. Last word.
Last comment.
Wait, this is before you. Mike, do you agree with her that her older part of the neighborhood does not get the benefit of the new?
I do know that there are two parts of that neighborhood. We considered all the same neighborhood in our analysis, but there is the older part where she's talking about, and there is the newer part, I guess, that's got the benefit of having creek properties. And is that correct?
No.
No.
They're just, I put the information on where the streets border. They're not creek properties.
Well, I just know.
I sit on my front porch and I look at them. They look out of place. They look nothing like the older homes in Briar Creek. They look like they could be picked up and dropped into a new development in Edmond. You know, the brick, single with the garage in the front. So they,
Comps. It's 1 and 3 are the ones that I believe are not in the neighborhood of the second set of comps that were provided.
No, they're all in the same neighborhood.
Yeah,
Right.
they're all in
She's
the
saying
same.
it's 2 different types of neighborhood.
We
houses in
have
the
it all
neighborhood.
classified as the same neighborhood, even if there's newer parts or older parts, we're all considering it as the same neighborhood.
Okay, and that's my issue. If the homes are newer, they started off at a higher price in the 90s, and they've continued to grow from there. We've continued our older homes to grow from here. So I couldn't understand why they cost more. Because to me, open concept inside is just, we're not going to give you any walls, but we're going to charge you an additional $100,000. I don't understand why, you don't have a front porch, but we're going to, So I don't think they should be worth more, but it's not for me to say. buyers respond to those houses differently than they do the older ones. So I
Yeah.
don't think they should be lumped together at all. And like he said, there are Spanish style, huge 4,000 square foot houses. There are houses back up to the creek that paddleboard, behind their backyards. You can't lump them all together. And he didn't do that. He didn't include any lakeside properties. But what he did do is include some of those comparable sized 90s homes that command a higher square foot price.
Okay. I pretty much understand the two positions. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll end this hearing, item number 7, and we will make our decision on Friday, and we will inform you of that shortly after. Thank you
Okay.
for coming in today.
Can I ask a separate question on the senior valuation freeze? I don't qualify for it for income because of my rental. If I use the rental income minus the expenses, I do. Do you allow that?
That's not for us to determine.
No.
You would need to, even though I am with the assessor's office, you would need to go to the 3rd floor of our office. And there is a division, the homestead division within our office. They can answer all those questions for you specifically, and they'll give you everything that you need.
Okay.
One last question. Is this a rental home then? Or is this your primary residence?
No, this is my home.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Sorry for the
That's okay.
huge packet.
Okay.
No,
All right.
thank you for your effort.
Is there any citizens' participation? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Sure.